Hello and welcome to another video. So in this video I'll be walking through how you can make edits to your model, and specifically via the history list. So we'll be looking at the history list, how to make edits via the history list. Basically in CST you could make edits to your model. Let's say you already have your model or your assembly in this case set up. Now you could go to, let's say, which of these. Yes, so you could go to this and then double clicking on the solid, or even this is an external project. Okay, so we'll look for, I think if you should click on external project, then it opens the external project. Yes, so you could go to the solid, and then if it's an external project, once you double click it, it opens the external project and you could make edits from here. And once you're done, if you should come back here, then you can parametric update, and then it updates the model. So that's one. Then you could also, so this is in here, yes, so you could also make edits to this. So you have the whole history, define cylinder, you could double click and then you make your edits to the dimensions. So that's one way, but then we'll not be looking at that today. The other way is actually doing this through the history list. So if you should go to the history list, you see your different actions, and I said something about cleaning the history list in the video that I'll be linking up at the right of this video, so check that out if you haven't. So basically this is what we have, and then we could really go through the history list. So we could go run to, and then to see how the model is developed. And it's also useful to see how, like, let's say you have a file that you got from someone and then you want to know the process that the person actually used to develop the model. Then you could go through each of these steps one after the other. So you see cylinder, and then you could also delete some. I mean, it would not be recommended if you didn't build the model or if you are not exactly sure. I wouldn't recommend deleting anything from here except you are sure of what you're deleting. So you could basically just run through all these steps and then see the process of development, and then probably you could get an idea on how to develop yours. But then if you click continue, then it runs everything to the end. So for this model, I noticed something. So if we should look at this, you have this in here. So this is the FPC. I mean, the name is not really important, but then this is one of the parts that I imported. And then supposedly I moved this at some point in the history, but then I changed this component because I was looking for a different radius of this FPC. So I deleted the old one. So I went to the history list. So I go to my history list and look at where specifically I imported the fundamental power coupler. So if I should run to this point, yeah, the fundamental power coupler does not yet exist at this point. So what I did was I had a different fundamental power couplers and I deleted it and I imported a new one. And then the processes that I took, the process that I implemented for the old fundamental power coupler, which is translating it to the end of the cavity, which is at the beam pipe, somehow wasn't recognized. But then it's not somehow wasn't recognized. It was actually a different model with a different name, so it could not process these actions. But then it still continued to the end. So you see that it doesn't give any error. But then it also does not move the FPC to the left side, although some actions are already there to do that. So what I do is, one way is I could just easily move this again, but then like I said, try to keep your history clean, remove any unnecessary moves, any unnecessary action that is part of the history list. So I'm going to go back to this point and then see which action does not perform. So see which of these operations in the history list does not perform any action. So this is supposed to pick an endpoint, but then if I should look at this, there are no endpoints picked. This is supposed to also pick an endpoint, no endpoints picked, and then this is now the translation, which is supposed to move the coupler, and nothing happened. So I have detected that these three are useless. So I could hide it or I could delete it. I'm going to hide it for now. Then even without processing the entire history list, you could go in right here and make the edit. So you could perform some, I think, limited number of actions. Yes, you could perform some limited number of actions on the model, and then it just adds to the history list at the top. So I would go and pick this point and then pick this point. So then I'm going to translate. Now, I do not like this. I mean, this is supposed to be 0, 0 in the y also, but then it has this value that is close to 0. But then I don't like it. I want it to be exactly 0. So I usually remove use pick point and then edit this to be exactly 0. And then preview is already there. So I could apply or I could click OK. So I just click OK here. So you see you have pick endpoint, which is this pick endpoint, and then transform. So now I can, okay, I have to, of course, apply, yes. So now I can delete these actions and continue. Yes, and that was it. So I just need to make a modification in the history list to move this out. And yeah, the history list is tidy. Every action here performs an operation. Now I could also delete this. I think I had the action a while ago, so I'll just delete it. Although I hid it, which means it doesn't run anyway, but then I like to keep things neat and tidy. So yeah, that was it for this video. I just wanted to show how I would normally go about handling some of the maybe errors, not really errors, but then this kind of stuff if I were to change any of the models and then something does not work or something breaks. So yeah, that's it for this video.